Yesterday evening, on Saturday the 1st of April, a day more commonly referred to as April Fool's Day, I was a fool. I made insulting and derogatory remarks in relation to a member of the Super League staff, who on the advice of my legal team shall remain unknown. These comments were unfounded and misplaced, especially as he's now deleted an old reference to anything anti-woke on his Twitter feed. I would like to apologise to the league and to the said manager unreservedly. Hang on. My comments regarding him not liking anyone of a different race were not accurate. Deliberately turn over the paper or turn to another one. He hates everyone taking a COVID vaccine or anything up their bum in equal measure. Go fuck yourselves up the fucking Super League.
Game week Sweet 16 is well and truly underway, and it gives us great pleasure to welcome the man who is here from some serious analysis this evening. It's going to be a serious show. There's going to be no Kevin Phillips headers, viewers. There's going to be no shambolic interludes or derisory comments about anyone in the league. Tato Mourinho, who is wearing the club colours tonight, which tells you just how good the Badgers are doing. How are you doing, Spud?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks, mate. Yeah, I had a good day. Yeah, down to the old RHS Gardens now, settling in for a night of the greatest league in the world.
Absolutely. Let's just have a little look at the comments. Greavesy going first. Lovely, excellent. Edwards is in the chat. Stay Right is in the chat. Dan Haynes is wanting to go early as well. And Edwards and Dimble are all there as well. Tato, what we're going to do is we didn't have a running order, but on that request, we're going to start with the Celtics and the Gazelles head-to-head. Kills two birds with one stone. Just get your insight. All joking aside, Badgers are doing really well this season. How many seasons have you been in the Super League for now, mate? 5, 4?
I think it's my 3.5, isn't it? I don't think it's
3.5, is it?
Yeah.
And
it's
the best you've ever done thus far?
I've been on some good runs in the past, so I'm still very, very close to, the league's so tight still that it looks awful. A couple of bad results and I'm back down in my normal 10th, so we'll see. I've been on good runs before.
And what is it about this season you think that has kind of seen you doing a lot better? Have you changed your approach at all? Have you went with players that you would never really go with, or what's the crack?
Well, I said at the start of the season, I said I'm going to try out some of these players that I just never do saves with. I don't do saves with the top end players or the sort of mid range players. I don't buy them ever because you're always conference to Champions League, or you Jesus have the best away record, or I don't use them, so I'm giving them a go, but I don't particularly like all of them. I think I'm not conceding as many. Playing some regular formations, I think, is the main thing. But no, the league's just so open, mate. If I'm honest.
Yeah, Jens is saying he can't hear us. If anybody else can just confirm that we're coming through loud and clear, and that it might be a sound issue on Jens's side. If somebody can just give us the thumbs up, that would be absolutely great. So we are going to start this evening with Tortuga Celtics versus the Special Gazelles. Celtics winning last night 2-0. Really solid away to Bostock, and make one enforced change, which is Tamati, who's been absolutely massive for them, coming out with Takanadi being in the left-hand side of that DMC role. Zanetti makes his debut tonight, which is a massive signing for him, and does kind of balance that side out just a little bit more. And Michael Owen also comes in for his first start up top. Any thoughts on Celtics this season, Tato?
I think the squad that he started with, I think he's doing well to still be in contention. I think he's only about 5 points off the playoffs. I know it's tight, but it felt like the team that he started with could have got cut adrift very, very easily. So he's done quite well. Certainly with the transfers, he's made some very good transfers to get it looking back like a normal Greavesy team, a normal Super League team, and one that can actually be really effective. Rossini and Owen is pretty understated, but what do they say? Low key quality, I suppose the kids might say.
Form kind of guides, and the league kind of trajectory tells you that he's had a good run the last three, but really
he's lost 1 in 6, mate. Lost 1 in 6, so it's better than that. Look.
Yeah, that's a good spot, mate. 1 in 6 with a fair few clean sheets. Is that 4 out of 6 clean sheets as well? Feels a little bit like traditional Greavesy, that. So we'll see how they get on tonight. Their opponents are the very special last night Gazelles, who there's not many teams that'll do that to East Coast Cosmos. Shout out to Hodgie, who's managed to make it 24 hours without a disaster. And they go like this tonight. In terms of any changes, I don't think there is any changes for them, other than a couple of little kind of tweaks behind the scene. Anything on this Gazelles team this season, Tato? I think Dan continues to punch well above what we expect his weight to be.
Yeah, he's done really well considering the players he's got. You look at it, and there's not too many world-class players in there. 1 or 2, maybe 3 that would probably walk into most teams. But I'm glad he's changed his formation because it wasn't working, and he stuck by it because of its success previously. But it hasn't been working this year. They haven't been playing well. But last night was a bit of a turnaround, and they could be a force to be reckoned with now, with sticking to that form.
And I think Gazelles kind of did this all last season, where they kind of hovered between 5, 6, and 7. I think they got up to 4th at one point, and they just never looked dead. They were always in the race, and I think they were one of the teams on that last day that managed to get over the line, really. Or I think the job might have been done with the results on the penultimate day of the season. So we are going to go into this game hoping it gives Zanetti. Of course, it gives Michael on number 8. That's weird.
I've got at the start of each game, Duggan, I've just got a little bit of a quiz question just for
absolutely fire away, mate. That's great.
I've just had a quick look at Scout, everybody, for the save that was sent out at the start of the season, so it may have changed now or whatever. I haven't, just to confirm, Campbell, I haven't got the live save. I've got the one that everyone else has got. So there's, I just want everyone to throw some names in the chat if you can be asked. Who is the player in the league at the start of the season with the highest CM Scout rating? Throw your names in the chat, and I'll let you know at halftime.
For those that maybe don't use Scout, and I don't use it really that much at all. What is Scout kind of measuring to come up with that metric?
I think they use voting. I think they use voting. People would give their percentage voting. It seems to be a percentage. This player's got 91.53% quality. I don't know how it works either, mate. I'm not that good on it. But the top of the league. Who is the most highest rated by the CM Scout users?
we'll find out at half time when we pull the match stats up. We've got 3 shouts on the bounce for Patrick Vieira. We've got what I imagine is Steve Wright in disguise as Mike Savage shouting Stephen Finnan. We've got a Corn shout. I would have probably went for Corn as well, but we'll find out at half time as we get the action of game week 16 underway. Alicia Taganardi gets the booking coming into that second DM role in place of Tamati tonight. Looks like there's a little bit of Gazelles making the most of it at the end of the pitch where it matters. We've got a shout from Hodgie for Vieri. Stay right saying it better not be Finnan, especially after he's just binned him off to and there is Dario Hussein putting Gazelles 1-0 up. Hussein, who at the time the transfer was made, went from a White Rose side that was struggling to score, and that is 2-2 for Dario Hussein. And the Gazelles looked on top during the text, Tato.
Yeah, seemed fairly comfortable. Yeah, has Hussein only been there for 2 games? Let's have a look at him. I thought he'd been there all season.
He went there at the start of the season.
He's terrible, but the change of formations really helped him, hasn't it? It's 2-2.
Yeah. 2-2, and having kind of the creativity. You wonder. Edwards is long maintained, and so is Ryan. That players like Totti in an MC role, they might not spit out high ratings for you, but you're actually, you become more creative for having them in there. So Gazelle do look a little bit more potent since he's come in over the last couple of games. Celtics, Dan going in with the early as is cheers shout, and Celtics just not really doing anything at the top end of the pitch. How's Hav getting on? A couple of key tackles, but nothing in terms of creativity. So Greavesy had messaged through a sub at 60 minutes, but I'm guessing he's going to still be about in the chat, so we'll just give him a couple of minutes. Tato, who is the CM Scout leading player?
It is Lillian Thuram, 91.53.
Okay, and then who kind of comes after him if you've got that?
Oh, I can't remember, mate. I didn't do that. I've got other questions for later. Come on, I'll do the questions.
Okay, mate. Sorry, I'll wind me neck then. Savage has just put Lillian Thuram in literally probably up 30 seconds before you said that, so that was pretty good. And we kick off with both teams going as is at the start of the second half. Looks to be a little bit more green and pink at the start of the second half. Greaves obviously shoved the rocket up the backside coming into it. Couple of chances Okaronko there in the mix, and we hit 60 minutes. And we stop almost bang on 60, probably just over. Bring up the away side first. Landon Donovan, not really doing much from that AMC position.
Yeah, he's not an AMC.
He's not, is he? Where would you be playing him up top?
If you're going to play him, he's a striker. Yeah. Like Martin always says, he's on the game. There's not many that have the similar statistics to Sigalko as him. And that just proves that, he's not as good, clearly, but he's definitely a striker. But
Dan probably grateful that he's 1-0 up with the bench that he's got there. There's not really much there to indicate that you could go and chase the game if you were behind. I wouldn't be surprised if we see it see an as is from Dan here.
Yeah, I swapped Kerr for Donovan, swapped with Sadorf.
So that's where kind of managers know in their 11. I didn't even spot that sub in terms of the move around. So fair play, Dan. Greaves is up next. The front four in terms of this kind of side of things are really, really struggling. What would you be doing here, mate?
I'd be pushing Marajo up front for Torres and going 3 up front if I was him. Maybe sticking an arrow up Fiore.
I think the other thing as well is Lauren Robert's that EMFL, isn't he? So I reckon Greavesy a shout here if you DM kind of the Super League account. We can, I think we can put him on a retrain for you as an ML or as an EMC. We did it with Reyes, so that's a shout. So Owen is going to go for Torres, and he's going to stick with the formation as is, and we roll until the end of the game now. Sub has been made, and again, Okaronko's name has been heard a lot. Obviously, he was part of that deal for. Was my apology accepted? Rob Sloth says. I'm sure it was. It was all in good spirits. Oh, it's a penalty, and Bartes is off. It's a penalty, and Bartes is off. And
who plays Gazelles next?
Do you play Gazelles next, do you?
No, I don't know. Somebody does, but they'll be buzzing.
If someone could let us know in the chat. Sacrifice one of the AMCs.
Got to be a Dielson, isn't it? Get a Dielson off.
Yeah.
He's not done much.
I reckon so. That could be
Yeah, he's done
absolutely
that.
massive.
Ideal for Dida. Yeah. Do you want to say it off central, Dan?
And then we'll just hang on. Dan, if you can let us know if you want to do anything with these arrows.
Greavesy as well.
Or if you want to keep them.
Tells you
good
response if you
shout.
need one, Greaves.
Good shout. I would have forgot that.
Good to see Neville back in this team as well, because he's been class this season for some reason.
Both the wing backs have. I think Dimble
Real.
definitely regrets letting the gap go. I think cheers
He's creative
like that
as well, isn't he? Creative from that right back as well.
Yeah, he's someone I would never look at on the game. I'll be totally honest with you, but I think how good he's been in Super League definitely makes us revise that. Greavesy, you do get the chance to make a change in response. Obviously, you can't wait for the pen and then make the change. So it's a little bit balls to the wall here for you, mate. I mean, Maharaho is doing nothing there from AMC. Do you take a swap around for Fiore and put Albertini on and maybe swap this around?
Yeah, I might push Takinardi up to make it 4 across the middle, but yeah, keeping as is. I'll take a draw here, mate.
Here's Fiore with a chance to score for the spot, and he does, without any doubt, with his first goal for the Celtics. And can they kick on now? Neville into the area. Hussein, though, immediate response. And that is why he's got, I don't know if he's number 9 in the game, but that is why he is the number 9 for Gazelles. He's that big target man up top to get them points where they need them. And this would be equally as impressive as last night's win, I think, given the fact that they've conceded and then went up the other end and scored. And another massive 3 points for Gazelles if they manage to hang on. Totti has a chance, but he heads it over, and it looks as though it's petering out. Celtics can't create anything more. And twice in 2 nights did the Gazelles look solid and impressive and edge what was, by 90 minutes, a close game.
That is pretty much identical across both sides. If you've got a striker like Hussein in that form, they're playing up front on their own, that's banging those headers in, that you get those crosses in, beating the keeper to the ball. That's absolutely massive. It's huge to play on a run like that. Won a game on his own then.
Absolutely. And I think Swanee's saying, game lads, I think that was a really good game. I thought I really enjoyed that. I had a bit of everything. Seedorf and Totti, we mentioned about Edwards and Phoenix saying that, that having that creative players into that MC, even if they don't do much, is massive, but they've done something tonight. They've both got an assist. Hussein's put the chances away. And Celtics just probably do need to review this kind of front 3 or 4 that they have, because they didn't really ever look massively threatening.
No, I think he's got Echeverria, hasn't he, to come in at AMC for the sort. I think that Marajo will be taken out for a while. I think Echeverria with Rossini and Owen ahead of him will be a lot more effective than what he played tonight. Yeah,
Hussein now scores 1 more goal in 3 less appearances than he did for White Rose. And Steer's absolutely fuming in the chat. So well done, Dan. Gazelles look a little bit ominous at the minute. I'm sure Mark will be delighted with that as well.
Didn't he only come good later into the save in the last version? So possibly around about now, season out, 2 seasons in.
Yeah, absolutely. Next, we're going to go to Bostock Haggis. Swanee hasn't asked for an early game, but I know that he can struggle a little bit when it gets to kind of the back ends of the stream. So we'll go with Bostock. And I thought his video was class today, by the way. And what stuck out for me, Tato, was just he's now understands that Super League is a bit of a lottery, and it can give and it can take, and there can be no reason or rhyme as to why that is. And you can kind of split Bostock's season really down into thirds, can't you? There was this third where they were kind of bang on top, and then there was this third where they had a slump, and then there was this third where it got even worse. Thoughts on Bostock this season?
Yeah, the side was built for these wing backs, and the side was built for that basic formation. The successful one. It's quality. I mean, he's ripped it apart. To be fair, the squad, but that's up to him. But yeah, I think what you're saying. I was in the video. I was looking at it, saying to him it's the same for everyone. Swanee, don't you know? I was saying at his phone it is an absolute spreadsheet lottery. Like he said, first 4 games good, next 4 games terrible. Then he went all Swanee on it. They've been spanked the last 3 games. You've got to try something, haven't you? And I'm one for that as well. But stick with the tried and tested. He's got the squad to do it. There, that team is good. He'll probably finish around 7th or 8th if he plays a normal Super League formation for the end of the season.
Yeah, you can be interesting or you can be competitive. Super League very rarely lets you do both. Simkoviak in at MC, as most of the league will know, I absolutely love him. He's class. Brought him to the Super League. So Steve has long said to me that in the absence of Boya, I should be playing Simkoviak in that MC position. So we'll see how that goes. Hodgie saying, remember when you said I was mad? Because that's what Hodgie used to always say.
This is why Hodgie at the start of the season, when there was the talk about the tactics and stuff, this is why I was constantly saying, a few of us were saying, it doesn't matter if you know each other's tactics. It doesn't matter if you know everything, instructions. It is just a lot at the end of the game. So it's, it's all good fun.
And I think on that as well, there's nobody of the three managers that have access to the save that are anywhere near flying. Do you know what I mean? So even if we wanted to be, testing out tactics and all that sort of stuff, nobody is. But even if we wanted to be, I would guarantee that it would make absolutely not a big a difference. It would probably make things worse because you'd be playing a game within a side of game rather than just focusing on your own team. I'm just pulling the Haggis team up. The tactic file just came in a little bit late because Campbell was busy with the wee man. So I just want Rocks or Campbell just to confirm that is bang on, because I was a little bit under pressure to get things ready with the Rob Sloth video and all that sort of stuff. Haggis this season, what can be said that hasn't already been seen, Tato? Any comments?
No, I've been quality. I think when they've not got the 3 DMC line, easy for me to say after last night's result, but when they don't have those two, Michelini, Santos, then those two aren't in. I think they can be got at. I think they can be beat. Again, easy for me to say that last night because I managed to beat them, but they're huge, them two. The tackles that they're putting in and the average ratings is massive to the whole gameplay. So yeah, I was lucky last night that one of them was suspended. But yeah, they're really enjoyable to watch. Really interesting setup and just a good team. Yeah, really, really good.
Yeah, and if we look at kind of their running at the back end, there's no reason why they can't really repeat that run. I would say probably the only team they're going to be fearful of, and I mean that including Dragons, is probably Burn. I think every other team they'll think that they can kind of go toe to toe with and get 3 points. Predictions for this one, Tato?
I've got another question as well, if you don't mind, as well before the.
We've had a ghost game. We've had a ghost game. Sorry, Swanee, mate. Yeah, go on. Do your question.
I can save it, mate. I'll save it. I'll do it before the kickoffs of every game.
Okay, lovely. We're going to go to casuals against Fulchester then. 2 of the longest serving in terms of involvement in the league managers, and for me, 2 of the best. Hodgie, for your next pack, if you can just let us know who you want to drop to the reserves, mate, just so we've got the one squad screen, and also a couple of others need to do that as well. Casuals have been very much up and down this season. Literally up and down, and look as though they're coming back up again after last night. Congratulations to Hodgie for becoming the Super League manager with the most wins ever, coming from behind against Rob Sloth. Well done. This is how they go tonight. Trying to get a tune out of Imar. Got a tune out of Imar last night, and this was the formation that got him that win and ended up winning 3-2 from 2-1 down. Any thoughts on casuals?
Yeah, I mean, I think he needs another striker instead of Guilherme. And Soroczynski not playing is very un-Hodgie. He's got 2 quality defensive mids on that bench there, but Cambiasso can do it on his own, and he's been best when he's been on his own in there. I cannot believe he's got Imar playing. I don't know how he's got Imar scoring 2. I don't know what instructions he had on him because, again, towards a testing thing, I have tried everything with him, and I could not get him playing. So, yeah, fair play to him.
Yeah, more goals and a man of the match in one game than he did in 12 for you. And it'll be interesting to see if he kind of sustains that. Hodgie does kind of have a bit of a way with midfielders, though. There's like Patasoglu and who else was it you had when you had Hersey at wing back. He does have a bit of a thing for kind of turning midfielders into gems beyond what anybody else can do, really. And over to the Phoenix now, who I don't think there's any surprise that they're struggling a bit more than they anticipated this season. They've went into the market and made some big deals with Kieran Dyer coming in at DMR and Edgar Davids coming in at MC. which totally changes the feel of that back six for me. And I think Grixty's making his debut as an assistant tonight in the chat doing subs. So welcome to the league, Grixty. Wish you all the best, mate, and hope you can get amongst it and kind of take everything how it's meant at face value. Any thoughts on Phoenix this season?
He started off very, very well. I think it's hard to completely mould a whole new team in your image after Macca's, because Macca's very, very set in his ways. So his squad in particular was very, very focused on himself, sort of his way of playing, and Ryan's is completely different. I'm very interested to see Haim Revivo. I don't think I'd ever even thought about him on the game, but looking at him in save from the start of the season, he looks quality. He looks like a really good player. So I'd be interested to see if he gets a look in. Davids, I'm not a huge fan of, but at centre mid, he's miles better than what he had. Shame Nakata's not out wide. I did love him out wide. I think start the season or last season with Macca. Yeah, as a winger, he scored, got loads of assists, didn't he? And I was really pushing for him, wanting him on the right wing. But but no, this does look good. A stronger team, but a little weak in defence, if it were me.
How many of that 11 were Macca players? That is a great question. And
Riquelme, Nakata, Batistuta,
Simeone,
Stam. No, Simeone was it.
Is it Haggis, wasn't he? Southgate, because Ryan was banging on for him for ages. Steve Wright reckons 6. Alex was probably in there as well.
In the squad, yeah, but starting there ain't many. Cole was there maybe.
Yeah, great shout.
So my quiz question, mate, while you load it up. So we know the highest rated is Lilian Thuram, and based on normal players, not the youth players or whatever with made up names, who is the lowest rated scout player in the league? So he's a normal player, not someone.
He's in the Super League, yeah. So
he's in the Super League, yeah. In the Super League.
Is he in first team or reserves? Because I think that might help people out a little bit.
I'm guessing he's in reserves. I don't know.
Yeah,
but if he's the lowest on scout, I'm assuming he's reserves.
Yeah. 1 win in 8 for Phoenix. 1 win in 8.
2 all.
So here we go. A lot of blue and white early doors. The Phoenix ball and formation looks to give them just a little bit more control with Edgar Davids in the midfield. Save from Buffon and now a counter-attack from casuals. Pizarro and Kluivert. Guilherme puts it over the board. Davids in there. Looks a little bit end-to-end this, and you feel that the first goal will be absolutely massive. And there is Diego Simeone with his first goal for Fulchester Phoenix, putting them 1-0 up away from home. Can they turn that 1 in 8 to 2 in 8? A lot of blue and white, but it does look as though the forward players for casuals are getting involved at the right end of the pitch. Chance for Nakata, save for Buffon. I'm getting it forward now. 3 minutes of added on time. Can casuals get into it before the half-time whistle goes? Southgate, and there is a chance over the bar, and that probably takes us. We're into 4 minutes of added time, and we have Fulchester Phoenix 1, casuals 0 at half time. Swanee just saying, Tato, can you sort me subs? Or whoever's about. I'm off. He's probably on mute, so you might just want to pop that in the chat, mate. And Fulchester with a solid performance from front to back, look to be solid. We've got a shout from Rocks with Tolly, Steve saying Jafar, Hodgie saying Jamie's victory, Mike Savage also seeing Steve Finnan. I'm gonna go. Who am I gonna say? Hodgie, there's your stats, mate. Just while I have a little bit of a think. 6s all round. Not much happening in that midfield. Hersey and I'm are really not seeing much of the ball at all. And the front 2 of the 3 really not getting much of it. I'm gonna go Roy Carroll.
The answer with 52.08 rating, so like half of them who are on scout think he's crap, is Marvin Andrews.
Oh, yeah, sent off. I know Dimble's got a little bit of a soft spot for him. I had him at Gazelles, and he had he's got 4 pace or something like that, or
got a lot of 20s down the middle column, isn't
he? Yeah, he's 20 for header, but he can't run, so he can head everything away, but he just can't move.
Don't do any headers.
We'll find him on this after. Hodgie, if you just let me know what you want to do. Grixty's going as is for his first half-time team talk. No surprise.
Guilherme is coming off.
Lovely.
Yeah.
What's he doing there?
Kutuzov on for him and pulled back to AMC. No arrow.
Trying to overload that single DM probably. Bibbins, Mega Horse, of course, knows that he starts with 7 pace, and
Yeah.
Jens, he's a monster intrinsic wise, and he's available. There's Dimble straight in with, as Marvin can do a job, he absolutely can. And we go from 45 minutes to 60 as Fulchester Phoenix. They don't score too often this season. We jump to 64, so stop it as soon as I can. And they haven't scored too many. Yeah.
With Fulchester, I think they've been slowly edging towards this formation that Ryan was so successful with. He tried it at the start, sort of pigeonholing the players in, but they didn't fit because of the winger system. But obviously now he's had unlimited transfers. He's got a lot of the players that do fit this perfectly. So he loves this formation. It won him 2 times, in case people didn't know. So I think they could be really dangerous now. I think this is going to be their setup for the rest of the season, and you can't write them off at all.
It's not a fake Grixty account. He's in the dugout for the first time this afternoon or this evening. Ryan, congratulations to Bolton smashing Plymouth Argyle 4-0 at Wembley, and he's on his way back from the Fifey's faster than Pascal Segan, says Hodgie. I'm sure he is. Hodgie, let us know if you want to do anything there, mate. At 65 minutes, and we'll just hang on.
Grixty's changing the area on.
Top of the area.
Yeah, fair enough. Batistuta's crap.
Yeah, is he struggling condition-wise in his old age? Probably not.
He's never good, ever.
Yeah. We learned that lesson. We learned that lesson well in our first ever season 7 with Dragons. He was absolutely dog shit. Nearly as bad as Oliver Kahn. Sticking. Good lad. Mm-hmm. Cheers for the eyes, mate.
Look who's getting a 9, Doug. Look who's getting a 9 for casuals.
Who's getting a 9? Lillian Thuram, yeah.
All hail.
He's a beast, isn't he?
The king.
He's a beast. Oh, it's a penalty. Penalty out of absolutely nowhere. And Hidetoshi Nakata puts Fulchester Phoenix 2-0 up. Grixty in is the chant from the away fans. We're not going to slow it down because it's 2-0 up, and casuals really haven't. Oh, we might slow it down actually. And there is Dere, Aymar, Cambiasso, Aymar. Could it be 2?
Still going.
Oh, 2 comebacks in 2 nights was a little bit too much to ask. Out of nowhere, casuals did more in that last 5 minutes than they did all game, and that is a really massive win for Fulchester United, which puts them on 22 points, which, depending on results either way tonight, could see them go as high as 7th. They'll not go as high as 6th because of goal difference, and the game is obviously automatically assuming that all of these results are draws so far. So well done, Ryan. Well done, Grixty. Well done at the Super League. Well done on your debut in the Super League. We've got Simeone. Well done, the Super League. Yeah, well done,
everybody.
Well done, everybody. And we got Simeone with an 8 and a man of the match performance. Anything standing out for you there?
Nah, solid. That's a pretty standard performance, and nobody played terribly. Yeah, like I say, they'll stick with that. They'll roll with that for weeks now.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they absolutely will. And Stam still to come back in at the second centre half as well there. Casuals, lots of 8s, but Aymar, your boy Aymar there with a 6. You'll be glad to see that. Probably feels like the big players at the right end of the pitch, the top end of the pitch, have just taken their chances for Fulchester, and that penalty a little bit of a killer. Anything standing out for you for casuals there, mate?
He's done well in general. There's a lot of 8s. There's more 8s than Fulchester got, but it's like you say, there was a couple of different players letting him down. I think he needs one more option in that AMC position personally, maybe pushing Hersey towards AMC and putting Soroczynski or Decor centre mid. He knows what he's doing, obviously, but maybe one more creative bit of talent in that middle AMC, and then I think it's set then.
Clive been a little bit quiet for a while now, or am I just massively waiting?
He's playing in the 3 now, isn't he? So it'll impact him. He's got Pizarro in as well, so it's going to have its impact. Yeah.
So we go on to White Rose v Dragons tonight, and this is how Steve goes. I think there was just a slight change. Yeah, Terry in for Perry, and the 2 DMs. Caladzio's back in there, who's been absolutely massive for him this season.
He's sold players, hasn't he, Doug? Isn't people on that's because isn't GVB?
Yes. Yeah. This GVB deal last night for Kandaya. Finn and Jonsson went, but Van Bronckhorst and Kandaya both ways were playing a little bit hardball. So fair play to him for not including him. I think that probably tells you the kind of lad that Steve Wright is, because I'd have been playing him.
Got nothing to play for, Doug. That's why.
Yeah. I mean, that's probably it, to be fair. And unfortunately, I think Steve has been the unluckiest manager this season, and this result last night was an absolute kicker.
Yeah, because 3 of those shots on goal from Burn came in the last 5 minutes, if you remember. They played class last night, quality, and I said to him, stick with it, get Perry off because he's crap. However good you think he is in the editor, get rid of him. I think his team's pretty good. And Penza is better in a 1. I've been chatting to him today. I don't think he's going to get numbers out of him in a 2. I really don't. And he's been rubbish so far, but hat-trick incoming probably.
Yeah, this is how the Dragons go. We bring in Maniero for Constantino, who's been firing blanks for a couple of weeks, and just hoping that by pulling him out the firing line, he can get back to some form when he comes back in. Lizarazu's suspended, so Liam Pure comes in. He was a bit of a talisman for us last season, and Hagen comes in to centre half for Keown, who hasn't been particularly great since getting back in to the starting 11. Any thoughts on Dragons this season?
I have lots of thoughts on the Dragons this season, but this is a.
Of course you do.
It's a kind stream and an analytics stream. I think you need to be doing better. You're still in with a shout, as we all know. I've not asked my question yet, but no worries.
Go on. Ask the question. Get it in there.
Youngest player in the Super League.
Youngest player in the Super League.
At the start of the season. I mean, it will be the same, obviously, but no one that has been signed start of the Super League.
Raul should have scored there. Samba in the league? Oh, that would be my guess. And there is a goal for Impenza. Puts White Rose 1-0 up. And massive goal. Steve needs to get Emil Impenza scoring to be climbing up the table and to be doing a hell of a lot better. Another chance there for Impenza. And there is Gerard with an injury. What are we going to do here? I'm back fucking bench for this. Have I really got to be Archie back? And then Ronaldinho and then Boya. And that's how we go. And we get to 39 minutes with Dragons creating plenty, but again, double save from Abiati there as well. Looked as though we 2-0. Raul, who had a stint at the Dragons in the last iteration, and White Rose look totally on top at half-time, to be fair, with the Dragons story of the season, not really taking the chances that fall to them, continuing. Any thoughts at half-time there?
Yeah, class continuing where they left off there, Rose. What they've got, those 2 strikers scoring, and Penza's got his goal. We predicted he would. 5 touches he's had, but one of them's gone in the net. That's all he needs to do. Quality, sleepy buzzing. Yeah,
absolutely. Big result for White Rose this. And again, another game where the front guys are just not doing it for Dragons. So this is how we're going to go at half time. We're not going to get anywhere by not scoring goals. We're going to go like that, and Stay Right goes as is. Let's crack on to 60 minutes. Next goal of the game has to be Dragons, and there is 3-0. Oh, it's offside. That could be absolutely massive. Come on, Dragons, get a goal.
Samba is right, Doug. Cherno Samba, 16.
Is it?
The only 16-year-old in the league.
So. Another chance. Oh, and there is Dragons potentially back into the game on 55 minutes, and Penza puts another one over the bar. We are in 61 minutes, and someone's just skied it over for White Rose. What I'll do is I'll pull Steve up first with me being live. There's your match ratings, and there is. I can't be arsed with another draw here for Dragons. Honestly, absolutely shite.
You two put together have won less than the Badgers all season. Do you know that?
Is that right?
Yeah.
Is that
2
right?
and 4. 2 and 4. We're on 7.
What are we gonna do here? We're gonna go. Boom. Stack the AMCs. Like that. And like that.
There we go. That's better. That's my home save one.
Stay Right is going Tato for Brugink. Swap with Veron. And that is all. Let's see if we can get back into the game here. The disallowed goal and then the goal from Dragons was massive. Ronaldinho, big save from Abiati. Back, Liam Pure. Zauri gets in the way. Dragons look to be a little bit more in this now. Hagen. Back to Ronaldinho. Free kick. Come on, Dragons. Get into this game. The CC winning it. This back. I went on fast. Yeah, just fast, mate. Not anything ridiculous.
60 minutes.
Oh, Liam Pingo. Come on, Dragons. Fuck's sake. Honestly. Hagen to Liam Pure. Ronaldinho. It's absolute torture when you're on comms and you're not doing great, mate. Honestly. Terry, White Rose hold on to the ball. We're on to Mpenza, and Mpenza bringing the ball forward, 30 yards into space for Zauri now. Is he going to whip it in? Oh, Victor Bayer keeps the Dragons in the game. Cafu clears. Header by Ndiaye. Boya. Come on, Dragons. One more chance. Cafu back. Saved. Oh, when they let it run through, you just want your colour to be seen.
Spilled it to the side.
Yeah. Tactical foul from Eric Ador there.
Could White Rose have a bit of the Dragons of last season in them?
And just go on a bit of a run.
Because they've got other players.
Yeah.
They've just been
definitely
playing okay.
Got the players, haven't they? Definitely got the players.
Yeah, interesting to see what they do.
Veron, White Rose into it, seals the deal. Sensational goal. That's why he's brought him back.
Class.
And that is a 3-1 win, surely, for White Rose to really pull them into it. It's probably Dragons this season run that, to be fair, with the results going the other way. Dragons again creating a fair amount of chances, but White Rose just looked solid from start to finish. Raul really pulling strings. Did he play him in a 2? Because that was the debate. Yeah, and Rock said last night that he needs to be in the 2 rather than the AM. Eric Ador, who Steve was really confident in doing a job.
He's got Candea coming into that as well. Candea.
Yeah, absolutely.
Candela.
Nesta back to his form of the start of last season with a 5. And just now happening for Dragons really at the right end of the pitch. Well played, Steamate, and that really does pull them up the table in terms of points, maybe not position-wise, but slowly creeping there. And well done on a big win there, Steve. We're going to go to Northern Burn next. So we're going to go to Northern Burn versus the Vikings. This is how Burn look. Edwards, if you can just confirm that those centre-halves are the right way around, because I know pre-game I started with them the wrong way around and you had to correct us there. Burn are now 3 points clear. They've got Jeremy's back. They've got Zialai's back. He's now playing Ferguson rather than Beckham. Front to back, best 11 in the league.
Yeah, you'd say so. I think I saw him comment when Jens commented on his team. He said it's his first choice team. He just doesn't know who to partner Kuhl, but he's got so many options that he can just keep rotating and trying. That AMC role is fairly insignificant, really, in the main, isn't it? I think we've all found because of the DMCs and the quality of DMCs in the league. But really good. Yeah, Duggan, have we displayed the best 11s from me and you yet? Is that
no? We'll do that. We'll do that at the back end. We'll do that at the back end. We played a little game pre-setup where we had to pick a player from each team to go into an 11. There's a Tato 11 and a Duggan 11. But what I will say is Tato changed the rules halfway through. And now we're on to the Vikings, who have really stepped it up the last few games. Their form has really picked up with just the 1 defeat in 4 or 5, and what looks to be a really solid 11. For me, this is potentially, maybe with the AMCs aside, but definitely that back 6. Definitely the 2 best back 6s in the league, to be fair. Any thoughts on Vikings, Tato?
Yeah, his back his two centre halves and his wing backs are class, and his 2 centre mids obviously are brilliant. You wonder. I said this on the last night. You wonder whether there'll be enough creativity. But if you get the Mendieta that Haggis got and got him playing the way Haggis did, then there's assists for days, and his set pieces are they're unstoppable. His set pieces. And at half time, I said it has the potential to be boring because it's 3 DMCs in the middle there, so you've got to get it right. But Robin possibly at AMC would make them even better, but. It's SEM Robin, isn't it? So.
A lot said about Robin this season, so we'll not repeat the old ground. Prediction here, Tato. Have you got a question for us?
I have got a question. Yeah, my question is: there is only one outfield player with work rate of 4 or under. Who is it? 4. We're talking 4.
Great question. Sigalko inside 3 minutes scores to put Northern Burn 1-0 up before Tato had even finished his pre-game question. Looks to be some more chances, and there is 2-0 to Northern Burn. This looks a little bit comfortable already. Vikings coming back into it there. Look at Tony with a header just over the bar, and looks to be a little bit more blue and red since going 2-0 down. Vieira in there and Alistair Davey with a chance, and Mike Duff trying to supply him.
Even
But
game.
every time Burn get that ball, you just think that they're going to have a chance. Free kick to Northern Burn from foul from Cannavaro, but nothing comes of it. Very, very quick first half. Match that, say that Vikings were the more potent. But actually, it's Northern Burn that go in 2-0 at half time.
Yeah, I'm guessing the Vikings keeper is going to be on a 5 or a 6 here. If you've got a keeper who's not on a solid footing 7 or 8, and you're up against Sigalko, he's going to score. He's going to get those headers over the keeper's arms. He's absolutely lethal, isn't he? Yeah, 5. It's Costanzo's a good keeper, but every keeper has these games, don't they? They just throw the ball in the net, like Casillas with his 3 for me and whatnot.
What a performance that is from Klompy at the back. That's class.
Doing his best to keep Maxim out, isn't
he? Yeah, trying.
There's been nobody guessing the quiz question, by the way, lads. So that was, I'll give you till 90 minutes. Just throw some names out. One player with a work rate of 4 or less.
Is he in the first team or reserves?
He will be in the reserves.
It's got to be someone really, really lazy and then up top, hasn't it? Or like AMC. It's got to be an AMC.
It's an outfield player, Doug, as well. Can I just make that clear? Because people think goalkeepers. It's an outfield player.
I'll go Walter Gaitan. Anything you want to do here, Jens, mate? Just give us a shout, bud.
He's done. He's done. Robin Frolicer Davey, Mido and Tony up front. Robin AMC with an arrow. Excuse me.
And Ian Edwards has went as is. Yeah, is it Andrews again? Says Dan. Edwards goes as is, as you'd probably expect, definitely expect with 2-0. Does look to be more blue and red since the half-time whistle has resumed. We have a free kick to Vikings as we go to the 60-minute change. It's just a minute early. Look at Tony on a 5 after a good start for him. Hasn't really got the options on the bench to hook him. It is an absolutely. I think it's a really hard question, of course, and I reckon it's going to be somebody 90% of us don't know about.
I don't expect anyone to know it. It's just a case of throw some names out and learn some at random, I guess.
Yeah, Tato teaches, Tato talks, Tato teaches. Jalmina has a good shout, I think, from Rocks. Really, really good shout.
Got changes from Jens there.
Yeah, by the way, mate. So what's he doing? Walk for Bishkan, swap for Paddy. That's it. No worries.
They're playing well. They're playing well. The keeper's been letting them down, and they're against the best team in the league. So not much you can do.
Absolutely. As is, Brixty goes Jafar. And we have an as is from Edwards. A Serginho tries to create something. Jinx pass, tactical foul there, and there is Mido. Vikings are into this. Let's just slow this down. Didn't even give us a chance. Sorry, Jens, mate. Didn't even give us a chance to build up a bit of suspense. And for the second time in 2 nights, Northern Burn have created the least. And they've looked the worst team on the match stats. If we cut the scoreline off, you'd be expecting 2-1 Vikings. But they have Maxim Sigalko, who is ruthless and gets 3 points for Northern Burn.
Solid throughout as well, really, aren't they? Sigalko's not even won any headers. I think Costanzo's early first 15 minutes of the game there, lost the game for Vikings, which Jens will be delighted about.
Yeah, absolutely. He's really not got a great track record with strikers, but keepers. Klompy again, doing his bits at
kept Sigalko quiet, didn't he? Klompy kept him quiet all game there. Klompy completely quiet. I don't think it was Sigalko the difference personally. I think it was the keeper errors were the difference there personally. Yeah,
it's a fair point. And as it stands, Northern Burn with Haggis drawn in game at the moment, technically because we went to a ghost game. Or 5 points ahead. So we have 2 games left plus the ghost game. Let's go.
The player, by the way, Duggan. Sorry to talk over you, mate. The player is Jamie Victory, who is at Casuals.
I reckon if Hodgie was still floating around in the chat, he would have said that because he absolutely hates Jamie Victory. I think. East Coast Cosmos, we said at the top of the show, and we've said in kind of successive commentaries really that they've been on a bit of a crap run. 4 defeats in 5. Haven't scored in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5
2 in
either.
7. Scored 2 goals in 7 games. Wow.
And this is how he goes tonight. Ortega comes back to DMR, which he hasn't really played much there for Cosmos at all, and really tries to pack rather that midfield. Any thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, he's done what I did previously in the league, where it goes, if you can't score, you put more defensive players on, which seems to make the difference. He's got the players to score some goals and stuff. I like Nicky Franco at centre mid, because centre mids are a bit of a waste anyway. To have him there with Agahauer, both of them can pop up with a goal.
And running that EM as well.
Yeah, I like the changes. Solid.
Rob Sloth, Frank Lampard keeps his place. He's having a little bit of a run in this side at the minute, which I don't think any of us were expecting. And he doesn't return the favour to Steve, and he does play. Candela, whatever you want to say. Rob's been solid, for a while now. Really solid for a while. That Casuals result just kind of sets him back a little bit, but he still finds himself in 7th with a bit of breathing space. Is Rob Sloth back this season?
He's not back till he's playing 3 up front. When he sticks them in, so at 45 minutes when it's 0-0 and he puts them 2 up front, then he's back. But the last 3 games have been quality between that he's played. There's been 4, 8, 13 goals in 3 games of PPP. So something's got to give here tonight.
Yeah. Any predictions on score or a question from you, Tato?
You certainly got a question. Yeah, there is there's 3 players at the start of the season with 20 finishing and 20 off the ball. One of them is Maxim Sigalko. I would like the names of the 2 others in the league. 20 finishing, 20 off the ball. Okay.
That is a great question, mate. That is a great question. As you get underway in 10 minutes play without much happening, a lot of the ball from Cosmos, and that is kind of what Dimble was going for with that tactical change. Milevski with a Duggan. Ortega coming in from DMR, creating something. Haven't seen much of Agahauer so far, but his name was mentioned briefly in the text. 30 minutes played, and it looks a little bit of a stalemate in that midfield with neither side really creating much. Saha on a little bit of a mazy run, but concedes the free kick. Agahauer could have been a good goal, but he puts it over, or was it a save? Not quite sure. Fastly approaching half-time. Van Nistelrooy with a chance on a corner to PPP. Double save from Toldo there, I think, in the commentary. And Nicky Butt gets a yellow card, and we get to half-time. Cosmos again struggling to trouble the back of the net, and PPP slightly better, but not necessarily so in the text. Emerson doing bits from the midfield there. What have we got? We've got Vieri. I would have said Vieri would have definitely been one. Comandini, Parnaby, Tristan. I think Horse might be quite close to it with Vieri and Tristan. I think Michael Owen might have been one. Stewart and Kwame from Wooder. What's the answer?
It is Tristan and Crespo.
Okay.
So no real surprises, but Tristan is one of those players that's got quality ratings, but doesn't really get a look in, does he? But Tristan and Crespo.
Yeah. He had a run for Bostock a couple of seasons ago, didn't he, under Scott? But I don't think he's done much since then for anybody, really.
Oh, this must be so frustrating for Dims. He's never been the most free scoring, but he's always got himself, he's always got himself 1 or 2 goals a game, hasn't he? You can always back him to bag these goals, and it must be really frustrating. It's just they're a bit of a brick wall, aren't they? They're a bit like an absolute block.
Yeah. No change for Dimble, so we'll just pull up PPP stats and see if Rob Sloth is going to do anything. He said as is until 60. Brilliant.
Push him up there.
Cheers, lads. It's 0-0, and it feels like 1 goal might be enough tonight. Another chance there for PPP, who keep coming forward. Looks a lot of red and blue since the half-time whistle. Saw again another save from Toldo. If you're struggling to score, it looks as though it feels it is, but then curse of the co-commentator, did it count? Yes, it did indeed. So they've scored a goal. You can imagine there'll be confetti cannons going off in Grimsby, and we'll go to the away side first.
He's gone already. 3 up top, no subs.
3 up top.
Because he's got no attackers on the bench. That's probably why. Another question. I have got other question. I've got one spare question, so I'll give you an easy one while Dims is checking out his team. It's probably quite too easy, this one. There's a goalkeeper with 20 positioning and 20 tackling, so technically could play as centre half. Who is it?
Buffon.
There's a lot of chat going on between a deal between Wooder and Tristan for Maniero.
Yeah, do you know what though? If you ask me, Wooder is the greatest manager in CMO 1 or 2 Super League history, because what he does is he doesn't take an interest all week and then rocks up. And if we win, the performance wasn't good enough, and if we don't win, the result wasn't good enough. So yeah, I mean, I bow down to him. I bow down to his 3-game tenure.
No change from
Dims. No change from Dims. Lovely 60 minutes. Can PPP score? They've scored a fair few goals this season, so it has felt all PPP. This would be 2 bad results in 2 nights for Rob Sloth, and definitely damage their playoff chances. Ronnie Johnson curls it. Soho. Yeah. Ooh, Candela with a last ditch tackle.
Chance.
It's a penalty. And this would be massive. Ortega and this scores Cosmos. They'll not just score 1; they score 2. You'd imagine they haven't got much confetti left after that first goal, but they'll be scraping it up off the floor and trying to reuse it. Salihamidzic Van Nistelrooy puts it wide. 2 former Badgers guys, and Aymar and Van Nistelrooy, who started well but actually haven't done it tonight. Yellow card for Melito. Looks like old Cosmos is back. This is a massive result for them, and ridiculous really that they've managed to maintain being in the top 6 despite having been so poor for so long.
They're on the edge of dropping out, though, weren't they? It was coming to this week. It was coming to a head, just about to drop out and plummet. But that's massive for him. Yeah, they've been made up for that.
Back to third, really done it. Yeah, absolutely. And really, for the first time, I think starting to see some really big gaps pop up between that top 4 and the rest of the league, really. Well done, Dimble. Unlucky Rob, mate. Created loads, but just couldn't take chances. Front 3 really not performing, and Nicky Butt having a bit of a mare in DMC there, which is not what you want to see. Over to Dimble, and Toldo made, I think, a number of big saves, I think, in the text. Agahawa with a last-ditch tackle as well. Nicky Florenko looking pretty solid from that MC position, to be honest.
So that could be... MC.
I think that's absolutely quality. Volodenkov, who was out for a long time for Dimble, hasn't made any tackles, but actually he's been keeping things ticking. So that feels very, very solid from Dimble, and I think he'll be happy to get that off his back, to be honest.
Very much so, yeah. Rustico was really, really good as well. The player was as people have guessed, it was Oliver Kahn. Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. All right then. So what should be the headline game of tonight, what actually is the penultimate game, is the Mighty Badgers against Asta Athletic. Wait until you see Savage's formation after he did us with a 0-0 last night, mate. I'm absolutely fuming. And this is how the Badgers go. Talk us through this. Anything interesting that you've done here?
I don't like Luis Enrique. I'm going to sell him. I'm just getting into 10 games. I don't want him to play for me anymore. So he's going to be going very, very soon. I kept it similar. Sol Campbell suspended. Vialli came in. Normally Comuna would be playing, but I'm giving Vialli a go. I like his attributes. So let's see how we go. I'm playing bottom of the league, but Asta an absolute enigma. So God knows what's going to happen. That's the Parma wall, isn't it? That's exactly the same Parma wall formation.
It's obviously Mike Savage, who I absolutely love to bits, and I think he's an absolute gent. There's a 2-7-1 against us last night. We can't break it down. He gets a 0-0, and then he did really well, and then he goes to this. I would have loved him to have played this last night, but unfortunately, we can't have our way. The Parma wall.
That's exactly the same formation, but without the long arrows on the wing backs. Yeah, it
worries me. Like season 2-3 Super League, was it?
Did really well with it, and I played it for a while with I think it was Astros. I can't remember who I was, but I played it for 2 or 3 games and did well. It does worry me because I love one at the back. It worries me big time.
Yeah, and you've definitely got that kind of that overload at the top end. You've got kind of 3 AMCs with a 1 striker, so they could just be absolutely taken out of the game. Are you gonna make a prediction on your own game?
1-0 Badgers, I hope.
I'm rooting for an Asta upset here. Come on, Savage. Oh, there we go. That was short-lived. Sorry. Shevchenko puts Badgers 1-0 up. Didn't quite see how the chance came about, but it does look to be a little bit, thank you, mate, a little bit end-to-end in the text. Casillas let it run free, but again, the right player wasn't there for Savage and Asta. Asta a little bit into it, to be fair, a lot more into it since the goal went in. But probably the lack of quality at that top end of the pitch and the lack of players at the top end of the pitch is maybe just making them pay for it a little bit. Asta creating more chances, as the text would suggest, but just not really putting it away at the right end. Locatelli on a 5, Edmundo and Victor not doing much at all. Janachetta, who's been massive for him all season, doing the tackling, but not really doing much of the passing. Tato will come over to you. Nothing spectacular at all really happening. PtII missing 6 tackles, but still somehow gets a 7 plus a booking. That's a bit of a strange one. Samuel just absolutely solid at the back. Are you doing anything here at half time, mate?
No, I'm going to stick it for now. I didn't enjoy that at all. I thought they were by far the better team than us there. Worried I'm going to hold on to 60 and hope I don't have to do anything else.
Jens is saying, Tato, you can't be the more boring one in a Super League game. Grow up.
I've got four attackers. That's more than most teams play.
It is, to be fair. We'll just keep an eye on the chat for any changes. I know he absolutely hates arrows, but I'd probably be tempted to kind of be sticking some arrows there.
He's not, is he? He's done something now. Edmundo back to AML, Victor back to AMR, Locatelli off for Cole to striker.
Like that? Yeah. Savage, you can just confirm that.
It's very mega horsey, is that?
Yeah, definitely. It's a shame he didn't fucking play it last night, though, isn't it?
I don't enjoy this.
Why?
Just because it's a bit mental, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, what do you do against it? I haven't got a clue how this is going to play out. I've never tested against this. I've never played against this. So I don't know what you can do with it.
Yeah, and then there's also the other thing of like you don't know what the instructions are doing. Do you know what I mean?
No.
Which just messes it up even more. Vlahovic with an effort just puts it wide, a little bit more blue and black than we've seen in the first half. Roberto getting involved in there with a penalty shout that is turned down. Shevchenko was clean through their Tato but didn't put the chance away. We'll come to Asta first. I know, mate, and I, my bitterness aside, you taking a point off us last night. I think, long may this live in the Super League. I absolutely love it.
I like it.
Never have the balls to do it myself, but I absolutely love it, mate.
I think, Sav, there's no harm in sticking some arrows on. I think you can keep yourself interesting and creative. Now you've got, and use arrows. I know you've sworn against it, but I think, if interesting is the way you're going, stick some mad arrows on there, mate. It'd be fun. I'll do some
Project struggling on 79%, but conditions are myth.
No, he's not. He's not struggling. He's fine. He's 2% lower than some of the rest of them. He's fine. Vlahovic off for Gustavo Lopez, please. And
look, it's a miracle that you're third with Vlahovic at AMC. I'll tell you that much.
He's done well this season. He's done all right. Can he bring off PtII for Scally as well? Yellow card. Look how sensible I'm being. I
know, mate. It's almost as if you want to be competitive this season, isn't it?
That'll bite me in the ass, that. Red card for Scally coming up.
Yeah. And then we'll just pull up Savage again. You have the luxury of being live.
Take that off. No one cares about that. Put the ratings on. Right.
Stay right. Shouting for Ali Duggan. Do you know who that is?
I could have done, actually, yeah. I could have done him brought Shevchenko back, but I feel like Shevchenko was involved in the text, so...
All hell would go if you had brought Vidiuta on. So we on 60 Edmundo to Victor to AMC, and let's see if that does anything for the Asta. And it does. Edmundo coming back into the centre of the pitch puts Asta one up, or one each rather, with Badgers, Bohm coming forward. This looks a little bit Asta heavy since the changes. We will slow it down a little bit. Badgers, who have been on a great run, could they be sabotaged by Voodoo? Savage? Shevchenko has a chance but doesn't really make anything of it, and Andy Cole came on and will be going off. Just trying to think about what he's doing here. Maybe it's got to be Lamucci, really, hasn't it? Unless he just absolutely batshit crazy and puts Bohm up front or whatever. So Savage, if you can just let us know what you want to do here, mate. You are in the game, I think, a lot more than you were in the first half. This sub could be massive one way or the other.
Have been battering us the last 20 minutes. Thought the first part of the second half, thought we were well on top, but since he's brought those wingers inwards a bit, I think they've been really good.
The £23 million man bailing out as always. PtII, what is he doing? Yeah,
came from me as well. I sold him as well.
Yeah.
Victor swap with Cole.
Yeah.
It's got to be Lamucci in it on the right hand side there.
Or does he go back to MR or whatever? Or...
He's got to keep it central because he's been all over me. I wouldn't be changing the formation. I think he's in with he's done Lamucci for Cole. He's on with a chance for a win here. The way they were playing then.
Oh yeah,
it's 1-1 in it, so
yeah. But he's still 1-0 down. Lamucci comes on, and it is again the blue and yellow that we see. Handball by Edmundo, free kick to the Badgers with 4 minutes added on. Casillas pumps it upfield, and Brasini deep inside his own half to Shevchenko. Tactical foul from Bohm, who's on a 5 at 60 minutes. Looks to be fizzling out, and I think both managers, especially Tato, look the worst sides in 60 minutes. Would probably take that as a draw, shake their hands, and crack on with it. Missed opportunity there, Tato. Are you happy with that?
No, not very happy. No, not very happy really. No, like I say, you just don't know how that's going to play out with that formation at all. He's obviously matched up all the three AMCs that I had, and he's just stuck shed loads of DMCs there. Half decent performance, but no, I'm not happy with my AMCs there. Luis Enrique's he's going, and I'm gonna.
Sky comes on 60 minutes and really looks solid for only having 30 minutes of time. Really, PtII, £23 million man at DMR doing bits, and
they've had a lot of tackles. Look at them. That 5 players with over 10 tackles. That's a lot. What played Mike? That was good. That very good, mate.
Good, enjoyable game.
Hacking away at me there.
And that brings us to our headline game through the ghost game situation. Haggis Bostock. Haggis, both these teams losing last night. Haggis wanting to probably get back onto it, especially with that 5-point gap now that Northern Burn have in real time. Predictions here, Tato?
I'd say 2-1 Haggis.
2-1 Haggis as we get underway. Red and white in the text, but Klimovic and Deisler come right back at Bostock Stanley. Is that a penalty? It is a penalty. Amoroso puts Haggis 1-0 up. He's been quiet the last couple of games, but he has been very, very good since he brought him in. Looks to be all blue and black since going 1-0 up. We get 17, 18 minutes. Hell of a lot happening here in the first 20 minutes, more than probably any other game this evening. Bostock Stanley booking for Simkoviak in that MC position. 24 minutes played. Deisler, who's been really good. Khan lets it run free, but again, the right player for Haggis doesn't find himself underneath it. We're still only at 30 minutes here. There's been an absolute shitload of text going on. Montella with a chance 30 yards out, but doesn't do anything with it. Michielini with what looked to be a yellow card. Steve Wright says Savage's channeling his inner Alfbridge and double messaging himself. Bostock Stanley really not at the races there in that first half. 4 yellow cards, couple of 5s chucked in, and only the 2 chances created with 1 off target. Swanee isn't in the chat. Has he messaged you any subs, Tato?
He just told me a few bits about player ratings and whatnot, but I'll give it. I'll what he said. I will move players up. He said he sent me a couple of positional changes if possible. So Boomer and Prutton to MC with a little arrow. Yeah, sorry, ML and MR with little arrows. Yeah, just do that till 60. That's what he said. Push them up. So we'll do that.
Okay. And we go to Haggis. Condition looks absolutely fine. Stick to 60. Lovely. And we'll see how we get on. It's a yellow card for Jorovic. Foul on Paul Scholes quite often the other way around this season. And there is Amoroso with a second goal on 49 minutes. And Haggis look to be chasing back Northern Burn down. They'll close the gap to... We jump to 67 minutes. Amoroso with a 10. Klimovich, who started well, but is actually on a 6. Be interesting to see if Alan Shearer gets a run out. They do usually like one of the wingers or Scholes coming off a Figo, kind of pulling them back with an MC. But there's no real reason to do it other than to maybe protect the yellow card with Stewart. What would you be doing here, Tato?
Possibly I'll be Klimovich and Deisler for Figo and Shearer myself.
Yeah, and I think you can always tell the kind of how well a team's doing when they either make no changes consistently, Northern Burn, or they have kind of a set sub that they make. And I think Haggis fall into that latter category. And they've done it there again. So Figo for Deisler. There's Deisler. Figo for Deisler. And Stewart for Scholes. Stewart is an AM.
Got to be with those ratings, those attributes.
Yeah, I think so. He hasn't said switch them round. Anything from Swanee?
He said 5s get them off, and any other shit players. He said so. Boumar can come off for Devayo, and then I would say Keane off for Crespo and go 2 up front. Yeah, try that. Take the arrow off him, Goviak, and give it on to Larson. Yeah, try that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lovely.
He wasn't very specific, Swanee. So,
and we jump to 70 minutes. Jens talking about a mutiny at Haggis with the manager. Is that the crack now? Is Rock's being called the manager? Is that public opinion now? And the director of football being ignored. Bostock really haven't created much at all, and looks to be another chance for Amoroso. Remember a couple of weeks back he missed out on his hat-trick through a disallowed goal. Late injury for Figo. Probably going to go Alan Shearer and maybe change with Amoroso.
Yeah, got to be in it.
You can play there, Connor. You can play on the wing. We'll just do that and see if he does anything. 93 minutes, I think it's going to be pretty much done. That'll do.
Yeah. Stewart playing better at AMC than he did at DMC.
And there we go at the final whistle. The Haggis boys are back amongst it. Absolutely dominant. Probably a one-sided game as you're likely to see in the Super League. Amoroso with a 10. Didn't quite get his hat-trick, but that'll not matter to the boys. 2-0 and a clean sheet. And just solid front to back. Rocks wanted Headman on. So there is discontent in the Haggis camp. Maybe they need to get together with HR and define their job roles and responsibilities. Swanee's video today kind of said, we started well, but we've been shit since. Swanee had went back to his tactic was game week 2, and I think that is kind of crying out that he's tried to go back to how he was playing earlier in the season, but the match ratings really don't reflect that. Pointed out
he doesn't have the players that he had in game week 2. He sold a lot of them because he got frustrated, which fair enough, we all do. But I think he's going to struggle there because he doesn't have those players in. So.
Absolutely. And that brings us to our classifieds. Boothstown Badgers, who end the night in 5th against Leicester Athletic, who still remain bottom, but really haven't disgraced themselves over the last 24 hours with the double-header. Edmundo rescuing a point with an Andy Cole injury. East Coast Cosmos get back on the wagon with a 2-0 old-school Cosmos-style win against PPP with an Algaron Ortega doing it with nothing in reply and find themselves back up to 3rd. Haggis with just about as dominant a performance as you're going to see against Boxlock Stanley in our Ghost game. Amoroso with a double to put them back up to 2nd. Maxim Segalko, same old burn, same old story, but they are back top and do have that lead again. Can anyone catch them? Then we have Celtics were the second team in 2 nights rather to find themselves on the end of a really solid 10-men Gazelles performance. Hussein scoring 3 times in 48 hours. Fulchester United with a massive win, having only won once in 8 games, beating Walton Casuals 2-1 with Nakata and Simeone doing the damage. And then for me, probably the performance of the night, White Rose looked absolutely solid as a rock against a poor Dragon side who have big questions to answer. Raul and Veron adding to the misery of Penza scoring early doors and a Gerard injury which won't help things, which leads the league table looking like this. Northern Burn are 3 points clear with a similar goal difference to Haggis, so that doesn't matter. Haggis in 2nd after that last night. East Coast Cosmos, how the hell are they still in 3rd with how bad they've been? Dimbleby absolutely cock-a-hoop tonight. Gazelles into 4th on 25 points. The Mighty Badgers still there with a point on 5th with 25 points. And the Vikings, despite having been beaten by Northern Burn, do find themselves above the dotted line on 23 points. Fulchester, wherever they came from, being so poor for so long, but they're actually only a point outside the top 6. PPP, 2 defeats in 2 nights, having a little bit of a wobble on 21 points. Dragons really need to be picking up a win sometime soon, otherwise they are dead and buried on 19 points in 9th. Casuals in 10th on 18 points. Celtics and Bostock, respectively, both on 17 points. And then White Rose and Asta on 16 points and 13 in 13th and 4th, respectively. Fixtures on Wednesday night, and we'll be back to Mr. Two-Time Phoenix if we can have a deadline of 9 p.m. on Tuesday night for packs, which will be out straight away tonight. Any late deals that haven't yet been processed, I'll try and get them done tonight. They should be done tonight, but there was a couple of players playing a little bit hardball tonight, last night when I was trying to do them, and it was a bit of a late finish. Asta White Rose, Bostock Badgers, Dragons against Vikings, Fulchester against East Coast, Gazelles against Haggis, Burn against Casuals, and PPP Celtics. Anything you want to add tonight, Tato? Top of the form table, or the Mighty Badgers, even if it feels as though one that got away tonight. Any kind of last comments for you?
No. I think there's a lot of big games next week. I think it's a sort of last chance for a few of those teams. Certainly yourselves playing Vikings. If they beat you, then that puts you 6th v 9th position wise. That puts them 7 or 8 points clear of you, and that's really tough to claw back. Around that mark, as it was 7. You've got a lot of teams playing each other in the top 4 as well. Coast and I can't remember who it was, someone else in the top 4, which will be very interesting indeed. I think it's either really obvious to say at this point or not so much, but 3 points at this stage is absolutely massive, and it just completely changes the layout of the league. It's starting to stretch, and it's whether you're in that top bracket or you're in the chasing bracket, really, because you can almost see gaps, but 3 points there is huge for everyone, really. Still seems an obvious thing to say, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot still to be done, isn't there? There's a lot still to be written, I think, about the league. Northern Burn and Haggis look absolutely, they look home and dry, to be honest, and I don't think we say that being too generous. They look really, really good, and I would be really surprised if those two teams aren't our finalists this season, to be honest with you. I think what I would probably say is I think 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th, and 10th are probably all still in with a chance of finishing anywhere from 3rd to 10th, genuinely. I don't think there's any one of us in there, maybe with the exception of Gazelles, who is really happy with our 11 at the minute. You've got your issues with Enrique. Fulchester are just kind of getting a first 11 that they're confident on and back of the pitch. But yeah, I think we're at the point where every game is a 6-pointer.
White Rose, I think, as stupid as it sounds, I think they're a danger, big time danger. I feel like it sounds stupid, but I feel like they're a danger to that top 6. I really do.
There's always a team who come late, every single season, and it could just be White Rose. They've definitely got the players to do it. So Tato, mate, thank you for your company tonight, and cheers for your quiz questions. And I'll get packs out straight away. Good night, boys.
Cheers, lads. Night.